I did it. I finally did it. They said it couldn't be done, but here we are. Over a full year since I started this game, I finally found it in me to come around and finish it. Well, at least finish it for me, like what I consider a finished game. The story was actually completed like a year ago, but 100% was what I was really after for this game. But boy, was I late for this assignment. Like, I mean, turning in the first day of school icebreaker assignment on the last day of class late. But I finally did it, and no one can take that away from me. But let me just say that it was hell to get to this point. And not because I didn't enjoy it, I actually had a lot of fun playing this game. But after spending so much time away from it, it kind of felt like I was just coming back to get the 100% out of obligation, and not so much as a fun little challenge like it would have been had I done all of this in the same period of time when I initially finished the story. But this whole experience was going to be a mix of getting chests, Force Echoes, Force Essences, BD scans, exploring, boss fighting, kinda, and generally anything that counted toward game completion without being a part of the story. And this whole process was planet by planet based on how close I was to completing that planet. And this whole process, everything you're about to see here, from the end of the story to getting the 100%, all took about 12 hours of extra gameplay. But without further ado, let's get it started. So naturally, I started things off with the planet I was closest to finishing, which funnily enough was Bogano, the place where it all began. Now, I will say that I did have a guide with me, letting me know where everything was on this whole experience. Because if you think that I was going to try and find everything organically, then you're out of your mind, because I'm not a masochist like that. But just like that, it was off to the first chest, which was in the Bogdo sinkholes area of the map, and ended up being one I remember seeing in the beginning of the game, but was never able to figure out how to get to. But after a bit of running around, I was able to get above it, jump onto a hanging rope, and swing my way to it. And to make things even better, there was something for BD1 to scan right next to it. This chest, however, had the Republic paint job for the Mantis inside, which was an alright skin, I guess. I don't know, I kinda wasn't a big fan of it. The next crate, thankfully, was actually quite close by, just being on the flat area on the other side of the hanging rope. Unfortunately for me, there were 3 Ogdos waiting for me, and while technically they weren't super difficult at this point, I've had enough issues with them in the past to be wary. Anyways, after only actually needing to fight one of them, I managed to open my next chest, giving me the lightsaber material Laminate Steel, a nice gold color. The next chest would also be close by, but it wasn't just any chest. It was the chest guarded by the Ogdo Bogdo. And after hyping myself up for the fight, I don't wanna. Turned out, I already beaten it. How I managed to miss the chest it was guarding, though, is beyond me, and you'll find that that's a bit of a running theme in this video. But it did not detract from the fact that I now had in my possession the holy pink poncho. The pink poncho! Honestly, at this point, the game peaked. There was nothing in the game that could possibly beat this moment. But the chest collecting didn't stop there. Next up was the Bainog Mesa, with a chest hidden down on a cliff at the edge of the map. And after making short work of the nearby mobs... Alright. Just mow through them. There we go. I now had the Pathfinder outfit material. The next part would take me to the subterranean refuge for a Force Echo before heading off to the very bottom of the abandoned village for a chest that was underwater, giving me the lightsaber switch, Valor, and Wisdom. On my way out, I was greeted with one of the many voice lines from the random stormtroopers that honestly I've really come to enjoy.
The helmet's got a smudge on the visor. That might be hard to blast. I don't know why they make us wear these things. I want the Jedi to see my face when I kill them. Well, the protection is helpful. Keeps us alive. I'm fine with that.
Bro, let's be real. Smudge or no smudge, you ain't hidden anything. After that, it was off to the Hermit's abode for 2 scans, and after activating a switch, a chest containing Eno Cordova's lightsaber switch. And after getting another scan on the way out, that was it. I had finished exploring Bogano to its entirety. Let's see it. Bogano explored, baby! I'm free! Oh, I'm finally free of Bogano. Oh, I'm finally free. Free I was, but not for long, because after that it was off to Dathomir, home of space zombies, 3-story bats, and Marin. But that's okay, we love Marin. After figuring out that the next chest that I would be going for was in an area called the Witch's Horn, it was at this point that I truly realized that this game, in fact, had no fast travel mechanic. None. Which meant that I was going to have to make my way there manually. Now, I didn't really realize this on Bogano since the map is small enough and easily accessible enough that you don't really find yourself needing fast travel. But on planets like Dathomir, Kashyyyk, and Zepho, this would really shine as a massive flaw in the game, and one that I can't help but imagine was thought up in some EA board meeting that probably went something like this. Alright guys, we got a new game in development coming up, but it's a single player game, which means we can't screw the players over with pay-to-win loot boxes this time around. So what are we going to do to make up for it? Let's hear some ideas. How about we take away fast travel? Somebody get this man a raise. And that's probably how it happened. But to make things even better, I was stuck in this room in the Night Brother Village for at least half an hour, in part because there was no fast travel mechanic, and because unbeknownst to me at the time, the Dathomir map has a one-way linear progression, meaning that I was trying to get in the way I was meant to get out. But after realizing my mistake, I was finally able to make my way down to the Witch's Horn and to where a Force Essence and a chest which had BD1 skin Day of Diogna were hiding. Afterwards, it was time to go a bit deeper into the Swamp of Sacrifice. First for a scan and a new terrarium seed, and second for a Force Echo. Then, after a bit of running around, I found the last thing I needed for this area, which was another Force Echo. With that, I was done with the Swamp of Sacrifice. However, on my way back, I ran into one of those Haxion-brewed bounty hunters who had, what is in my opinion, the best NPC name I have ever seen. That's right. I was standing face to face with the legendary bounty hunter and Knight of the Eastern Sun. Huh? Sir Jogs. Who is you? Yeah. Anyways, the next area of interest for me was the Nightmare Ruins, where I was still missing 2 chests and probably at least 1 Force Echo. But after completing the loop, I found the next chest, which contained the outfit material Outlaw, which I thought looked pretty good. Afterwards, I ended up having to do the loop again after I found out I had missed a chest earlier in the run, because of course I did, but I did make my way to it, and I found that inside was the poncho material Homestead, but since it wasn't pink, I didn't equip it. But this meant that all I had left to do on Dathomir was complete the Tomb of Kujet. To start things off in the tomb, I first found a nice little Force Echo in a second-story room that I had missed the first time around. And on the other side of this cave was a mirroring room, which also had a Force Echo in it. In the next cave, which was guarded by a couple of Nidaks, was a wall that was climbable, and at the top was another Force Echo. With that, not only had I finished the Tomb of Kujet, but the planet of Dathomir, which meant that the next stop on this journey was the planet of Ilum. Starting off, I was heading to the Crystal Caves, where I was missing a chest and a secret, and after making my way to the caves, I found another obvious collectible that I should not have missed the first time around, in a Force Essence. Honestly, how I missed this kind of crap the first time around is beyond me. Like I'm either stupid or blind, but probably both. Anyways, after collecting that, I went and found the last chest in the area, which was underwater and contained the lightsaber switch power and control. Next up was the Imperial Trench, where I had only explored 60% of the area, and was missing the area's only chest. But after realizing that close by was a rock that I could climb on, I quickly looped around and found the chest. Inside was the lightsaber material Duraplast, and after a couple of BD scans, I found a Force Echo in the room where you initially get to choose the color of your lightsaber. Following that was another couple BD scans, and a Force Echo that was tucked away and hidden in a corner. But after that, Ilum was completed, and it was time to head to the second to last planet, which was unfortunately for me, Kashyyyk. On the way to Kashyyyk, I found out a little something about Marin, and a certain Ileana person.
Have you ever buried someone you love?
In a sense.
After the massacre, I buried my mother's, my friends, Ileana.
Who's
Who is
Ileana?
she?
We used to sneak out to the swamps and make potions together. We were so close. I thought when we were older we would be together. Instead, I closed her eyes and bundled her with the others.
Sit down, kid. It's time
So
to
Ileana, huh? Where does that leave Cal then? I mean, obviously we know what happens in Survivor, but who's this Ileana person you speak of? Now, this sounds like Cal might not have been the only person in Marin's life, but I don't want to dig too deep into that. Who knows what kind of weird, freaky things they get up to on Dathomir. To sum up my thoughts on Kashyyyk as a planet, I think Sid said it best.
No thanks, I choose life.
But yeah, to start things off, I got BD his last upgrade, before heading to the I don't even know how I'm going to say this, Kylstad Falls, to get a chest behind this damaged wall, which gave me the lightsaber switch Passion and Strength. Then it was off to the Kjalstad Basin. Yeah, that's not English. For 2 more chests. The chest underwater gave me the lightsaber switch Peace and Justice, while the one up top gave me the lightsaber material Crodium. Also under the water, however, was another BD scan. But I wasn't done there. There was one more chest in a hut under the zipline, which contained the lightsaber sleeve Passion and Strength. Heading deeper into the forest was the area Gloomroot Hollow. In it, I found a new terrarium seed for milkgrass, whatever that is, as well as a Force Echo that was past a jumping area with 3 massive Venus flytraps. Did I mention I love this planet? After that was the Origin Lake, with 2 chests hidden underwater. The first one had the lightsaber switch Peace and Justice 2, while the other had the lightsaber material Electrum plated. Afterwards was another BD scan and an extra stim, which I was not going to pass down, which also brought my total up to 6 canisters. Before setting off, however, I took a moment to appreciate the one creature on Kashyyyk that I do like. And man, is it a gorgeous animal. But one Scout Trooper, Stormtrooper, Purge Trooper, and slide later, I had the Recon Poncho material, which was alright, I guess. The next area of interest was the Origin Tree, deep in the forest. And after a bit of parkour and sliding around, I was there. After walking around a bit, I found the missing chest for the area. Inside was the Poncho Material Rover, which was kinda mid. But after that, I found a Force Echo and a spider nest, and a BD scan right below it with some eggs. I love this planet. Then there was some climbing to do to get to the Gnarled Heights, the next area. But it was well worth it because I found... Monkey. Monkey. And a chest too, which had the pilot outfit material, which honestly wasn't as cool as the monkey. Then it was off to a little landing, which had a BD scan, a chest, which contained the Perihelion Mantis paint job, which I actually quite liked with its white and gold. I then took a minute to appreciate the view from the top of the Origin Tree, which was honestly probably the most picturesque thing about the game. That and this cutscene. But only after had I made it past this cutscene did I realize that I had actually gotten ahead of myself and missed something in the last area, because of course I missed something. Thankfully, however, my last save point was actually before the cutscene, so after jumping off the edge enough times, I was eventually able to respawn back at the Gnarled Heights. The thing I had missed was actually a Force Echo directly next to me. Getting this meant that the area was now complete, and that I was free to loop all the way back around to the top of the tree and back down to the Gloomroot Hollow, for this Force Echo that I had missed not once, but twice. After that, though, it was back to the Imperial Refinery for another chest and another secret. The chest was easy enough to find, just down a hall I hadn't gone down before, and it contained the Stygian Prime skin for BD1. While the Force Echo was a bit harder to find, I would end up finding it near the entrance of the refinery, after cutting through a squad of stormtroopers, in a tunnel behind where the commander was initially standing. Another BD scan was found a little later in the den of the albino spider, which I am so glad I did not have to fight a second time. The second to last thing I needed for this area was a Force Essence, which I found down the hallway above the chemical bath. The last thing was this Force Echo on the other side, which meant that the Imperial Refinery was complete and it was off to the Overgrown Pass. There was only one thing to do there, thankfully, which was a Force Echo on the other side of this ravine. The Force Trench was up next for this Force Essence, which was in the first room, and this Force Echo a bit further in, meaning that this area was now all well and done, and that all that was left to do on Kashyyyk was to get a couple of chests which were by the Mantis. The first one was in this tree hollow by the AT-AT that I had commandeered a long time ago. It contained a Poncho Material Rainforest. The last chest was by the downed Imperial Troop Transport and had the BD-1 skin Sundari Dawn. But with that, I was finally free of Kashyyyk, and all that was left to do was Zepho. However, on the way to Zepho, I ended up learning a little something about Grease that I wish I hadn't.
What makes you think there are Jedi hiding?
No, just curious.
Is there someone specific you're thinking of?
Well, growing up, we heard tales of a green, pointy-eared, legendary Jedi
Yoda.
Master, and...
Are you talking about Master Yoda? Yes, he is very legendary.
Indeed he is.
Wait, what? Who? No, I'm talking about Master Yaddle.
The Jedi High Council member?
Yeah, we all have our dreams, okay? Let me...
No problem.
Get over here, kid. We're about to land.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Grease, you did not. Oh my god, you did not just say that, Grease. So, anyways, I was on the final stretch, but there was a lot of work to be done on Zepho. I still had to find 28 chests, 10 secrets, and a slew of Force Echoes and BD scans. Speaking of BD scans, this is what I started off with in the Gusty Bluffs. Following that up was a Force Essence in the cave at the end of the path. After going through the door at the end of the loop, the area was completed. Up next was the Weathered Monument, with a terrarium seed for the Royal Fluzz, and this chest for the Mantis Paint Job Mercenary after going up and through the tower. But back in the tower was this other chest, which had another Mantis Paint Job, this time being the one called Occultation. After that, in one of the caves, I found the last thing I needed for the area in a Force Echo. Up next was the Auger Pulverizer section of the map. All that was needed there was this Force Essence on the other side of the pistons. Next in line was the Ancient Catacombs, where all I was missing was this chest up at the end of the hallway. Inside was the Mantis Skin Charisma. There was also a Force Echo at the entrance by going around the other way. There was a couple of chests to be found in the windswept ruins, the first being behind this fallen pillar. It had the lightsaber sleeve Duty and Resolve too, while the other one was a little further up on the right side, and it had the lightsaber material Osmeridium. The Tomb of Aelrum was the next big thing on the list, and after heading down there, I found the first chest off to the side. This first chest had the Outlander poncho, and right next to it was another BD scan. One Tomb Guardian later, and I had another Force Essence. In the room across the hall was this Force Echo and this chest, which had the lightsaber material Slivian Iron. Another Tomb Guardian later, I found a BD scan for this massive sarcophagus. And after running around the main room for a little bit, I found the last chest for the area, this time containing the BD-1 skin Balm Grass. And immediately next to the chest was another Force Echo. To finish off the area, all that I had left to do was find the save point that was previously blocked off. And with that, the Tomb of Aelrum was completed. My next area of exploration was the Ice Caves, which I had previously barely touched, but after fighting some rats that would have even New York's hardest people quaking in their boots, I found my first chest, this one containing the Wayfarer poncho. And after fighting off a Jotaz that had burst through the wall, I found another BD scan. After that, I got the shortcut that led back to the Mantis. However, this gave me the opportunity to take a slight detour and go back to finish the derelict hangar, by getting another stim, which now brought my total to 7, and by getting another Force Echo. On my way back to the Ice Caves, I got another BD scan, and one Scout Trooper and Purge Trooper later, I now had access to another 2 chests. The first had the BD-1 skin Bestine, while the other had the lightsaber material Cerakote. And directly next to these chests was a BD scan and a Force Echo. Looking a bit further into the caves revealed another stim, now bringing my total to 8. Closer to the center of the caves was a chest that contained the lightsaber material Arcitron, which just sounded like an off-brand version of Megatron. Afterwards, I looped all the way back to the wall that the Jotaz had jumped out from earlier to find another Force Echo, which meant that I had now finished the Ice Caves. Back in the Imperial headquarters, however, was this chest, which had the lightsaber material Erodium. One Purge Trooper later, and I would find this Force Echo. And after making it outside, I would find this chest on the other side of the spire leading to Mictrol's tomb. This chest contained the Serape poncho, and was the last thing needed for the headquarters. On the other side of the map was the crash site, which was where I was headed next. The first chest for this area was underwater right next to the Jotaz. This one had the Fjord poncho. On the other side, also underwater, was another chest, which contained the BD-1 skin Grungio. I was starting to sense a pattern with these chests, as the next one was also underwater, this time to the left of the Venator, and it had the lightsaber material Elemental Nature. As it turned out, there was a pattern, because yet again, the next chest was also underwater, this one being to the right of the Venator, containing the lightsaber material Polished Bronzium. After getting that chest, I would make what at that time I thought was a mistake, thinking that this part of the ship was still a part of the crash site, not knowing that there was actually a whole area of the map that I hadn't discovered yet. And after sliding down what felt like a mile-long slide, I was in the heart of the crashed Venator. While trying to look for some dry land, I got the scan of an ARC 170, and managed to find this chest by going around the back. Inside was the lightsaber switch Elemental Nature 2, and after climbing for a bit and swinging around like a monkey, I found this Force Essence at the very top of the room. A little bit further forward was another BD scan and a Force Echo by some dead clones. Even further towards the exit was another Force Echo by some more dead clones. But after losing my mind on this puzzle for a bit, and finishing off a Stormtrooper and a Jotaz, I had struck a bit of a jackpot with a Force Echo, a chest containing the Starfighter poncho, a second chest containing the lightsaber material Chromium, and a third chest containing the BD-1 skin Cantonica. On my way out, I found another stim canister, which brought my total to 9 now. After returning to the crash site, I went back to swimming because it seemed that every chest in this area was underwater, with this chest containing the lightsaber emitter Elemental Nature, and another containing the lightsaber sleeve for Elemental Nature to finish off the area. However, it was at this moment that I realized that I had missed something in the crashed Venator, which meant that I had to loop all the way back around inside the ship again to get it. What I had missed was a Force Echo at the bottom of the big room above the rats, and after completing the massive loop to get back out of the Venator again, I made my way to the Broken Wing, which was another area that I had barely explored. The nice thing about this area, though, was that there was still a boss for me to fight. Unfortunately, however, at this stage of the game, it was a bit of a cakewalk. A bit further forward, ahead of the Rabid Jotaz, was another chest that was underwater, as the pattern lives on. Inside was the lightsaber material Orichalc. Inside the sewers of the ship was a Force Echo that was cut out from this, I guess it's a fan? But on the other side of the sewer, and up the elevator, was the Force Essence for the area, which was enough for me to finish the Broken Wing. Afterwards, I made my way down to the Imperial dig site to find the last couple of things I needed for the area. The place I was trying to get to was right here, and it meant that I would have to ride the zipline and jump at just the right moment to land on the outcropping below. And after a few failed attempts, I was able to manage to stay on the platform. On the other side of the wall was a Force Echo, and the final stim canister, which brought my total to the max at 10, and also meant that I had completed the area. Continuing forward, I made my way to the Tomb of Mictril, and on my way down I realized that this was it. This was the final stretch. Complete this area, and I would achieve my goal of 100%ing this game. So with this motivation, I set out to find what was left that this game had to offer. The first chest was hiding behind some branches that I needed to burn away, and after looking around for a couple of lanterns and a good vantage point, I banked a shot that freed the chest. I made my way back down to it, and inside was the BD-1 skin Sumi. One Tomb Guardian later, and I had found the next chest as well as a Force Echo. Inside the chest was the greasy Money Mantis paint job. The last chest was at the edge of the map, and required me to commit a bit of deforestation to these branches, make this shot with a lantern, flip this switch, and bank another lantern through the gap. Once those were done, I acquired the last collectible, the Zodiac Drifter Mantis paint job. I was now down to the last item on my list. One last Force Essence to end it all. Afterwards, I went to the nearest save point as fast as I could, and just like that, it was over. The job was complete, and the mission accomplished. Oh my god. Did I do it? Please tell me I did it. Yes! Yes! Oh, 100%. Oh, 100% it's done. Oh, it's over. Oh my god. It's finally over. And yeah, that's all I got. I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who stuck around for this long and watched all the way through. As I said before, I'm happy to finally be done with this and to be able to move on to something else now. There will be other things to come to this channel. It's not just going to be Star Wars based. And yes, I am going to finish and do the exact same thing with Jedi Survivor, but that's not going to be for another couple of weeks because I don't want to be playing the same type of stuff every single time. So I'll be sprinkling some new stuff here in between, but Jedi Survivor will be coming soon and it will be finished. But yeah, everything you just saw here was streamed live on YouTube, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Maybe you'll be able to join me for the creation of the next video. But anyways, thank you. That's all I got for now, and I'll see you next time. Adios.